All right, everybody. I want you to sit back and pay attention to this video. I don't want to hear any nonsense that, oh, there's no new One Piece chapter this week, so Tekking is going off the rails and making random videos about things in One Piece that don't really matter to the current story. Oh, no, no, no. You're going to look me square in the eye and you're going to tell me that the Supersonic Duck Squadron does not matter to this story? Are you going to look me square in the eye and are you going to tell me that Karoo isn't mobilizing the Supersonic Duck Squadron right now to go lead a commando strike team to save Vivi? You know 100% that is what he's doing right now, all right? This is going to be relevant and this is going to be pertinent, so pay attention, okay? All right. We got a lot of really strong groups in One Piece, or at least groups that claim to be strong. We got the 4 Emperors and the 7 Warlords of the Sea, and you got your Cross Guilds and your Seraphim and whatever, but none of them are the fastest animal on land, sea, and air in the entire nation of Alabasta, now are they? In a straight-up foot race, who is winning, Karoo or Kaido? Bourbon Jr. or Mihawk? I've never seen Mihawk run a 10K. I've seen Bourbon Jr. do that, so there we go, right there. All right, Supersonic Duck Squadron, also known as the Super Spot Bill Duck Troops of Alabasta. So named that in the original because the species they are part of are Super Spot Bill Ducks. That's like what their actual species name is. That's what Karoo is. And it consists of 7 Super Spot Bill ducks. They're all family. I think they're all related. Yeah, a family of 7 ducks. Now, later on, we also have Eyelashes the Camel that joins their ranks. That is a lot harder to do than you think, okay? Eyelashes the Camel joining should not be overlooked, okay? Kaido has been trying to become a member of the Supersonic Duck Squadron for the last 20 years, and he has been rejected numerous times. He's tried everything, showcasing his strength. He's tried to flirt his way into the Supersonic Duck Squadron. Nothing has worked, okay? Mihawk's been on the waiting list for a while. You know, it's just they're only let the most exclusive of characters in, all right? They're very particular about their ranks. And Eyelashes, I guess, just happen to have the necessary character traits in order to get into the squad. You know, that's how it goes. All right. So, during Alabasta, we actually get to see quite a few different animals that live on the island. There were those, lizards that ran around the desert and everything like that, but none are faster about speeding around the deserts of Alabasta than the Supersonic Duck-Billed Squadron. That is their whole idea, all right? That is what they do, all right? They run really, really fast. And you might stop for a minute. If anybody is out there played Final Fantasy, not even any particular Final Fantasy, if you've ever played Final Fantasy, then you might be pausing for a moment and thinking, wait a minute, large yellow birds that are used as steeds in place of horses to cover vast distances across a very large world map. Why does that sound so damn familiar? Chocobos! Yeah, that's right. I think probably Oda based them off of Chocobos. Like I've said before, One Piece kind of incorporates every reference and trope in all of fiction into one story, which is part of the reason why it's so damn good. But yeah, you can call Karoo a chocobo. I'm all right with that. And because this is One Piece, and one of the reasons I love the series so much, is Oda doesn't just reveal the characters oh yeah, there's some other ducks that are Karoo's family, and the Straw Hats are going to use them to, get close to Alubarna, and then split up and go to various, locations and things like that, and that's all they're going to be there for, not very important. No, we get names, we get birthdays, we get their heights, we get their blood types, we get their favorite foods. This is the stuff I love about One Piece. The level of lore. Just the fact that Oda even does the SBS, which he already has a lot of work on his plate. He doesn't need to do the SBS, but the fact he goes the extra mile and does that is a big deal for me personally, okay? It's all the extra world building and stuff in this story, okay? So let's get started by talking about the leader of the Supersonic Duck Squadron. I am, of course, referring to somebody that needs no further introduction. We have Karoo the Duck. Vivi's best friend, loyal companion, and animal familiar. Karoo is the entire package. Karoo enjoys cold water and Volti as his favorite foods. I'm not sure what Volti is. I tried looking it up, and the best I can see is it's some kind of roasted sea bass, but I think it also might be the name of a really fancy Italian restaurant. So Karoo really enjoys cold water and fine Italian dining. He's like, all right, Vivi, I'm going off. There is an Italy in the One Piece world. There's like a parallel to like every country in the One Piece world. So when Karoo wants to have like a good meal, he goes all the way to a different country, goes into a Michelin star restaurant, sits down and puts on the little, napkin thing, and he just enjoys some great roasted sea bass. So, he has a fine palate. He is 16 years old, and he was born on November 8th. We're going to go through all of the different ducks' birthdays. So if one of you has, or many of you have a birthday that's the same as one of the Supersonic Duck Build Squadron, congratulations. That's like 50 years of good luck just there alone, okay? Oh, yeah. So Karoo has traveled with the Straw Hats before, which means he's been in the thick of battle. He outran bounty hunters at Whiskey Peak. He outran dinosaurs on Little Garden. He got frozen in a lake because Zoro was a dumbass in Drum Island. And, of course, he helped take down Crocodile at the end of Alabasta. Karoo wanted to finish Crocodile off right then and there. Luffy beat him up through the tomb, and Karoo showed up with a knife. And Karoo was like, Karoo? Because that's how Karoo talks. Karoo! And then everybody had to hold him back like, Karoo, please, no, the fighting is over. No more blood. But yeah, we all know Karoo. So unfortunately, Karoo is not with Vivi right now. Vivi had to leave Marie Joie because of the whole events with her father, and then she was taken in by Cypher Pole Zero. She was like, tied up on a chair there. Emu apparently wanted to speak with her, and then all of a sudden, Wapple comes out of nowhere, and Vivi makes her grand escape. So unfortunately, Igaram and Chaka and everybody, Pell and Karoo, had no choice but to go back to Alabasta to kind of figure out what's going on, to have the burial for Cobra, but also to kind of like, Igaram and Karoo were like handing out like missing persons posters for Vivi and everything like that. And the last time we see Karoo is in Alabasta crying over the loss of Vivi. So though, it's okay though. It's all right. He has to grieve, absolutely. But after he gets a hold of himself, Karoo is going to mobilize the entire squadron. They are going to get a bunch of like automatic weapons and grenade launchers and all sorts of shit, and balaclavas and everything, and like night vision goggles, and they are going to sneak back into Marie Joie to try to bring Vivi back. Vivi's not there right now, so that might be a bit awkward. Like the freaking Gorosei, the God's Night. It's like Garling wakes up in the middle of the night to go get some milk. He goes to his fridge, and there's just like a duck with a sniper rifle in the kitchen. Like, where is she? Quack, quack, quack. Garling's like, oh shit. Okay, like that needs to happen now in the story. Okay, all right. So that's Karoo. He's the leader, all right, and he's a good leader of the crew. Next up, we have Stomp, the duck. Stomp is a little nervous, kind of a timid sort of duck. Stomp has a set of lovely pearls around his neck. His favorite thing in the world to drink is carbonated beverages, so he's just a really big fan of soda or pop. What do you call it? Soda or pop? When I worked at Dollar Tree, a lot of the old folks that came in to shop would always call it a pop. Harold, grab me a pop out of the cooler there. Yeah. Also Coke. Sometimes in just certain regions of the United States, all of soda is just Coke. So there you go. Marketing, I guess, worked out great there. Okay, but anyway, yeah. Carbonated beverages. And Stomp was born on October 10th. So there we go. Are you keeping track of the Supersonic Duck Squadron's birthdays? All right, 50 years of good luck. It's there. Usopp was the one that rode on Stomp during Alabasta. Next up, we have Ivan X, the duck. Ivan X, and it's not Diaz, it's not Ivan Diaz, like with an X Drake sort of thing. In Japanese, it's literally like Ivan Xu, okay? So Ivan X. That's so cool. This was before all the Xbox were really out there, you know what I mean? With your Xbox and your Xbox 360, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, you got to admit the naming scheme isn't that great. You got to admit, even if you're a big fan of Xbox, that's fine. You might like the games, you know, hey, I was a Call of Duty guy back in the day myself, but like at a certain point, you got to admit the naming scheme's not that great. All right, there's better ones they could have done. So anyway, Ivan enjoys playing Xbox, of course, but also he is the largest duck out of the entire squadron, and Luffy rode on him during the operation. Ivan was born on January 8th, is 16 years old, and enjoys cactus as his favorite food. So, of course, they're in a desert, so there's going to be lots of, you know, cacti around and everything like that. So, Ivan enjoys the cactus juice. So him and Sokka would have definitely bonded very well in Avatar: The Last Airbender, all right? But yeah, big, giant duck, really strong, stern look on his face. Rely on Ivan. We should go through, like, if they were, like, the A-team or something. Like, Karoo is the leader. Stomp is, like, the face duck. Ivan X is the demolitions expert. Dun, dun, dun. Ivan X. Boom. You know, that's a cool name. Ivan X sounds like he would be the demolitions expert. Doesn't it sound like that? Yeah, let's just go through that. All right. Next up, we have the sharpshooting expert, Cowboy. So, Cowboy, as you would imagine, is Cowboy the duck. He is a duck. I just want to clarify that each of these are, in fact, ducks. So, Cowboy the duck has a cowboy hat and a pair of cool shades. His favorite food is carcade, which I looked up. It's like a hibiscus tea, and depending on which country you're in, has a different name for it, but it's like any kind of hibiscus leaves that are made to make a tea. In Japanese, it's carcade, but yeah, it's just tea. He enjoys tea. His birthday, April 12th. So yeah, wasn't that long ago. But yeah, Sanji rode on top of Cowboy. And I'm sure that was fun. I don't know if there was a scene. There wasn't a scene where they, like, all selected their particular ones, or, like, the ducks came up to the Straw Hats that, like, they trusted the most or something. Although I can't imagine Luffy being like, I want to ride on the big one, you know? And so Luffy jumps on Ivan X and Usopp. And, you know, I like to think that Stomp and Usopp were the last ones to select. And so Usopp is just like, I guess I'm with you. And Stomp is like, yeah, I guess so. Quack, quack. Okay, you know, because their personalities kind of match up very well there. Okay, but yeah, that's Cowboy. He pulls out his duel. He like guns akimbo and just, you know, super dead shot is Cowboy. All right, next up is my personal favorite member of the Supersonic Duck Squadron. Although they are all amazing, we have Bourbon Jr, the duck. Bourbon Jr., implying that there's a Bourbon Sr. That was probably a member of the former group of the Supersonic Duck Squadron. Like, they're all one big family, right? So they all have the same mother that all laid her eggs, and the Supersonic Duck Squadron came out of those. So, you know what I mean? So the former generation had Bourbon Sr., and this is Bourbon Jr., okay? So Bourbon Jr., he's got a fun little hat and some glasses, and he loves to drink bourbon. So he literally has, like, just like Karoo has, like, a little barrel of water that he always likes to drink because his favorite drink is cold water. Bourbon's is just bourbon. So, now listen, you might question, like, wait a minute, they're in a desert country, and these animals have to run really long distances and make sure to stay hydrated. I don't think alcohol, like bourbon, is, like, best for hydration. Are you a duck? The only people that are allowed to say they are ducks are these ducks and actual ducks and Kaido. And I don't think you're any of those, unless there is a duck watching this video right now. There's somebody out there that probably owns ducks and is like, okay, Tekking, goes out and picks up one of their ducks and like, haha, now the duck is watching the video. In which case, hi, duck. How you doing? Yeah. All right. But anyway, Bourbon Jr. Nami rode on top of Bourbon Jr. His birthday is April 8th. We have two members of the Supersonic Duck Squadron that were born in April. That's interesting. Yeah, the biggest thing about him is he just drinks that bourbon. He's intense with it, okay? It hydrates him. He has a special ability where alcohol is extraordinarily hydrating to get him across the long desert, okay? Or he's just a drunk. I guess that's also another possibility. He's like, you know, Nami's on top of Bourbon Jr. He's like running in like a haphazard line. It's like, oh, are we going to be able to get to Alubarna on time? Quack! quack, just drinks more alcohol and he gets progressively more drunk. But they made it there. Ducks can't get drunk. That's not how biology works. I don't know. Okay, anyway. So next up, we got Zoro's trusty steed, Kentauros the duck. And let me tell you, if you thought Bourbon Jr. was intense with his day drinking and also morning drinking and night drinking, then got to get ready for Kentauros, who just smokes a big fat cigar while also running across the deserts of Alabasta. You know, it's like 100 degrees out there, if not hotter. You know, it's extremely sweltering, and Kentauros is just quack, quack, quack. And then just starts running off. Okay, yeah, all right. So Kentauros has a really cool helmet that's, I think, indicative of like a Roman legionnaire kind of situation. Named after centaurs, Kentauros centaurs. There we go. November 23rd is his birthday. Also appropriate considering Zoro's birthday is also in November. I actually don't know. Is Zoro's birthday? Hold on a minute. When is Zoro's birthday? They have the same birthday? Because the whole thing was Zoro being, you know, Zoro Shimosuke or part of the Shimosuke clan, you know. So, like, if they have the same birthday, I really wouldn't be surprised. No, so November 11th. That actually makes more sense. November 11th is Zoro's birthday, November 23rd. But they're close enough, right? You know, they were children under the frost moon, I suppose, right? Kentauros' favorite food is mahalabia. I had to look it up. It's an Arabic milk pudding. It's like a pudding kind of dish. And that's what Kentauros likes to eat with apparently a nice big fat cigar afterwards. He's got style. And you know those aren't cheap cigars either. Those are some fine Alabasta cigars that he's smoking on, right? Absolutely. Next up, we have the final member, almost the final member, before we had the new addition. We have Hikoichi. And Hikoichi, this is the duck that Chopper rode on and has a straw hat, like an Amagasa hat. So that means, canonically, Hikoichi has visited the land of Wano. Because that's the only place in the world you can have those straw hats. So he went to Amagasa Village where they made the straw hats specifically for Hikoichi, or maybe Ace made one because he made one for Oars. We know Ace was in Alabasta. Maybe something happened there. I'm not really sure. So that's pretty cool. His favorite food is onigiri. And now that I have been to Japan, I can tell you just how good onigiri rice balls really are because they are great. The ones that you could just get at like the Kobenis, like, you know, we went to Lawson and Family Mart and, you know, 7-Eleven, all those ones and everything like that. Those are all really good. I like the tuna mayo ones. But we also went to a place called, I think it was called like Bongo or something like that. It's in Ikebukuro if you've ever went there. And it was such a good, like, actual rice balls they make right in front of you. I had one that was stuffed with tuna mayo and the other one was karage, like Japanese fried chicken. It was so good. You know, these were really, really good rice balls. I'm kind of craving them right now. I wish I could I literally had a dream last night where I was back in Japan eating this, like, pork bowl thing that I loved while I was there. And I'm like, well, I was like, oh, man, I should go get that. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, no, it's 7,000 miles away. Oh, man, I got to go back to Japan at some point. But, like, yeah, anyway, that's Hikoichi. And his birthday was May the 1st. And then finally, last but certainly not least in the slightest, for their distinguished service in the Alabasta Baroque Works War, we have Eyelashes the Camel, who, because of royal decree, and keep in mind, not just because of royal decree, because the royal guards of Alabasta have nothing on the Supersonic Duck Squadron, but Vivi and Cobra and the royal family got together and they recommended Eyelashes join the Supersonic Duck Squadron. And after much deliberation, Karoo finally decided, quack, 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 and gave Eyelashes the Camel approval to join their ranks. And also, Eyelashes is wearing also kind of like a Roman sort of helmet right now. So perhaps, yeah, maybe Kentauros helped, you know, like the design of like, oh, well, if you're going to join, you got to wear like a cool hat. Because that's kind of their thing. They all wear hats. You know, Karoo has a hat. They all have funny hats that they wear. And I am a fan of funny hats, okay? Yeah, funny hats are just great. But yeah, Eyelashes the Camel has joined. We see him here being one of the also personal bodyguards of Vivi. so he's definitely ascended into the ranks there. You just you don't want to piss him off. You know what I mean? They're really like the Godzilla protocol of Alabasta, right? Like they helped the Straw Hats get where they need to be, but they're not going to actually fight Baroque Works themselves. Oh my God, could you imagine? Karoo fighting against Crocodile, Stomp taking on Mr. 1, Ivan X taking on Mr. 2, Hikoichi taking on Mr. 4, and then the others taking on all the other agents or whatever the hell, just one of them's probably good enough to take care of all of the billions and millions and all that kind of stuff. Bourbon Jr. fights against Miss Doublefinger or whatever. Like the fight would be over. There wouldn't be anything going on there, right? Yeah, so that's the Duck Squadron. Oh, yeah, I guess I kind of gave up on... Okay. Karoo's the leader. Stomp is the infiltration face duck expert. Ivan X is the demolitions expert. Cowboy is sharpshooter. Bourbon Jr., he's the supplier. He can get what you need, kind of thing, right? Okay. Kentauros, he's the combatant. He's hand-to-hand combat kind of duck. Hand-to-hand combat or all sorts of like weaponry. Like he'll pull out like a freaking like a Sparta shield or something. He'll fight you like Leonidas or something like that, right? And then Hikoichi, Grenadier. Hikoichi is Grenadier. He pulls out like a giant rocket launcher or something like that. As for Eyelashes, seduction. That's his expertise. Okay, there we go. Brand new show coming to TV this fall. The Supersonic Duck Squadron. They are going to revolutionize TV. They're going to be like the A-team of a new generation, except they're all ducks. All right. Anyway, that was the Karoo video. Hope you all enjoyed, everybody. And let me know if you line up with any of the ducks' birthdays. That's really important. Oh, when was Eyelash's birthday? Just for reference. August 17th was Eyelash's birthday. And in case I forgot, November 8th was Karoo. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching, signing out. Quack.